Hey everybody. All right, so I just did the raffle, pulled the raffle winner, and I like momentum. Got some momentum. I'm already here. The equipment's set up. I got the camera in front of me. I want to share something with you. A little bit of story time. This is completely unscripted, so I'm just sharing with you off the top of my head from my heart. In the last week, I have had 3 different people tell me that I am rude. Okay, and I want to talk about this. The first one was this very mean homeless man who lived, well, I say homeless, but he lives in his van and he just sits in his van and chain smokes cigarettes after cigarettes after cigarette. And I'm not going to get too much into the story, but he did something that he knows every week that we ask him not to do, but he does it because he's right. It is public, but common courtesy, whatever. I was trying to get his attention. His window was down, smoke rolled through it. Hey, good morning, sir. Nothing. Hey, sir, good morning. Can I ask you a question? Nothing. Sir, nothing. So tap, tap, tap on the window. Because I know he hears me. He's right there. His window's down. I'm this far away from it. And this man got so angry. He starts cussing. That's so effing rude. How dare you do that? You're so rude. And da-da-da. And I was just like, sir, I think you're rude. And it turned into a thing, whatever. And then later on that day, I had posted something about, and a lot of you saw it. It said, what is more important than the food that we eat, the air that we breathe, and the water that we drink? And I put that in my story, and somebody that I know responded and said, being a kind person. Being a kind person is more important. And I said, hey, I think being a kind person is very important, but we can't be a kind person if we're not alive. And without food, air, and water, we won't be alive to be kind. And this person starts arguing with me, telling me, you need more than just water to heal, and herbs aren't a cure-all. And I said, hey, nobody said any of those things. I said things nobody said. Only water can heal you, and herbs are a cure-all. So he proceeded to call me rude. And I said, there he is. And then that upset him. So he called me the C word. You guys, this grown man called me the C word because I disagreed with saying that being a kind person is more important than food, air, and water, And then fast forward to that, a woman who had me drive a vehicle with illegal substances in the vehicle without telling me, a woman who asked me to go way out of my way, a couple of hours spent to go out of my way, just to blow me off, that I then said, hey, I feel very disrespected. And until you acknowledge your behavior and offer me an apology, I don't want to be around you. She called me rude. So I'm like, okay, this word rude has now been given to me, projected onto me 3 times now. And I'm able to recognize it. I think it is so important to remember to pay attention to the person who is criticizing you before you absorb it, before you take it personally. Is that person well? Does that person take care of themselves? What fruit does that person produce? Okay. It's very, very important for me to ask myself these things. Otherwise, because the world is just full of critics, people sitting on the sideline telling you all about yourself. And if you're not careful, you start to absorb that. It'll weigh you down, and you won't ever be able to shine, to do your thing, to grow. So again, so these people calling me rude, they're not people that I want to do what they're doing. I don't want to be where they are. So I said, you know what, there's a reason though, this word, what does this word mean? And I looked it up. I looked up the etymology of the word rude, and it, from the Latin root, rudis, meaning unrefined, raw, rough, uncultivated, untaught. Let's see. And then the Old French, meaning crude, rough, impolite. What's it say? Middle English, about the 1300s, rude shifts into English as ill-mannered, of course, but it still kept the sense of being rough or refined. But the original meaning was not polished, raw, primitive, rough around the edges, natural. That is the origin of the word rude. I'm going to say that again. Not polished, raw, primitive, rough around the edges, and natural. And now I get it. I am rude. I am rude and I will take that. I really am. I am unrefined. When it says impolite, I don't fall into these standards, these molds that society has tried to build for us over the last couple of 100 years. I am rude. I disrupt patterns. I step outside of the norm. My authenticity and my boldness is jarring to some people, and that sensation of being jarred can be upsetting, but what else? What was it? Not yet shaped. I'm not shaped. What is that? Like, I just think of all of these people who just fall in line and do as they're told, and act how they're told to act, and they're just these robots. I'm not one of those. I can't fit into those molds. I can't be shaped like that. Speaking the truth is considered really rude, especially, if it's politically incorrect, or, not something that somebody else says that we should or should not say. And so I've decided, maybe I am rude, but I'm also respectful. I don't disrespect people. I respect their space. I respect their privacy. I respect them as human beings. I treat them with respect, as long as they are treating me with respect. And even when I am disrespected, I'm still pretty good at being respectful while standing firm in my boundaries. Just like that woman today got so mad when I said, hey, until you acknowledge your behavior and apologize for it. Another thing, like, I don't think that nobody owes us anything. We are not owed anything, but I do believe we get to decide what we deserve. So while this woman does not owe me an apology, I know that I deserve one, because that is the value that I have put on myself. Those are the boundaries and standards that I have set for myself. So that was me asking for what I deserve. And if she does not want to give me what I deserve, that's fine. Hey, bye. But these are the standards that I have set for myself. You either acknowledge and apologize for the disrespect, or I'm not going to waste my time with you. Well, she chose the latter, because it is very challenging for people to hold themselves accountable. And I get it. It hurts. We feel embarrassed. That old homeless man, the van man, got me so worked up that I cussed at him. I did. He was being just so nasty, and I called him an effing a-hole. And but that was after I was trying to just speak and have a conversation and ask something. It was just so but I learned from that too. I was really embarrassed by my actions for a moment, because I know that I have more control over my emotions and my reactions than that. It has been a long time since I felt that way. I had to remind myself, like, where I come from, no, you just don't just talk to people like that through your window and get away with it. But I no longer am where I came from. I'm in a whole different place now, a whole different frequency, whole different life. And but man, that old Cameron really wanted to come out at that time. So I'm just loving her. Like, hey, you did good, mama. You said your little 2 cuss words and you walked away, and everything is okay. It's taken a long time though to get to this place of not allowing people's projections to affect me as much. I mean, it used to really, really get me, just like this woman today who didn't want to, she started, I said, hey, I said what I said, acknowledge, apologize, let's move forward, but instead started insulting me. And what I have learned is people will insult, attack what it is that you love the most. So me, it's the ministry, it's my mission, it's the medicine that I make. So what's the first thing she starts doing is just throwing little slick comments out about me and mine and what I do and how tainted it is and da-da-da-da-da. And if I was not so sure of myself, if I did not spend as much time and put as much energy into taking care of myself as I do, my foundation would not be strong. I could be easily rocked by comments like that. But because I take care of myself, because I love myself, because I know, because I walk in favor and I'm just covered in the love of God, when people insult me like that, it just can't penetrate anymore. It took a long time though to get here. I read all of Brene Brown's books. I love them very much. I'm not sure that she and I would get along in real life, but her books are awesome. And one of the things that she said is, people don't listen to people who aren't in the arena. And I'm going to say this again, always pay attention. Who is criticizing you? Are they somebody whose opinion of you really matters? Do they offer anything of real value? And I think that's important. There's this mindset in the love and light community that we're just supposed to love people and forgive them and have compassion. To an extent, absolutely agree. But I also think that people are sorely lacking accountability, and people just go around treating people any kind of way because they've never had to answer for the way that they treat people. And I'm not with this, so I'm just going to be real. Most people are lazy. Most people are weak. Most people do not have what it takes to do what it is that they need to do to achieve sustained vitality and their goals. They just don't. And so then when these people see you and you're doing your thing, they have no idea what it took to get there, but they want it and they envy it. And everything about you reflects back to them, everything about themselves that they don't want to look at. Just like the guy that called me the C word. He was already angry. You could tell by his reaction. It had nothing to do with my post. He hates himself. And him looking at me reminds him of how much he hates himself. And so then I was on the receiving end of that projection. Thankfully, I love myself enough to know, hey, it's got nothing to do with me. It was a little bit upsetting because grown men just going around speaking to women like that's crazy. And I think, even vice versa, women going around speaking to men any kind of way, that's crazy. It's disrespectful. It's, I think it's weak. I know what it is to be in pain. I know what it is to suffer. And there is no excuse to leak your suffering all over everybody and to make the world around you suffer just because you're suffering. The best thing that you can do is hydrate, take care of yourself, eat some real food, move your body, deal with your stuff. Oh, hi, Candace. I didn't even see everybody over here commenting. Hello. What's up, everybody? We're on Facebook and YouTube right now. Someone said, I'm just trying, not too bad today, but it's just not as much, where did I go? Of the day, to be honest. I just want to be able to relax and relax and relax. Then relax, lay down. Another big realization that I had recently is like, okay, cool. It is great to work hard. It's important to work hard. All right. Faith plus work equals favor, baby. And our grace plus grit equals, dang it, I can't remember it right now, but it was on, let me see if I can find it. But what is the point of all of it if we're just stressed out all of the time? What is the point of life if we're just stressed out and anxious all of the time? If you are to the point that you are so anxious that it is affecting your well-being and is having a negative impact on your life, that is the time to say, hey, all these things I'm worried about, they can wait for tomorrow. All right. Especially the little things. Grace plus grit equals glory. That's what it was. That's what I was looking for. Yep. Grace plus grit equals glory. Yes. And I say this with God and I say this with plants all the time. Herbs work with you, not for you. God helps those who help themselves. All right. And just like with herbs, in order for plants and vegetables, herbs are vegetables. They're a type of plant, right? Same with fruits, all of it. They only can nourish you if you consume them. You have to get your butt up and make your tea, cook your vegetables, blend your smoothies. You have to do that in order for the medicine to work. But by doing that, by getting your butt up and preparing your food, preparing your medicine, and then consuming it, it is going to nourish you. And when you do that consistently over time, you start to see real results. But it's not going to just happen for you. I work with a lot of people. And when I tell you 90% of the people that I work with just don't seem to have what it takes. Let me shift that. It has changed a lot. But it has been, there are so many people, they pay big money to not even do the work. They will pay you good money to then not do anything. And then what's even worse than that is, another example, when people come to me and they pay me to help them to achieve their goals, but then they don't keep their food journal. They don't make the changes that are necessary for them to achieve their goals. Eventually, they can't look at me. And I'm not mean. Yeah, I'm firm and I'm raw. That is for sure. And I'm like, hey, you want this or not? Let's do it. Here are these small steps. My job is to make it as easy as possible, to take this very difficult thing and try to make it as easy as possible. But no matter what, it's still going to require effort, consistent effort. But my job is to make it easier. But I can't do the work for them. So eventually, once they're not doing the work, they can't look at me, because when they see me, they see the choices that they aren't making, or the choices that they are making that they know that aren't the best choices. So then I get rejected. And that's fine. I have learned over time that it has nothing to do with me, and my heart is still here, is still wide open. And whenever that person is ready to stop making excuses and to start making moves, I'm here. Let's go. Let's see what everybody's saying. Hello, everybody. Thank you for commenting. Thanks for being here. But where was I going with all of that? The world is unfortunately just full of sick people and broken spirits. And when you are sick and you are not well, your frequency is lower, bottom line. And when your frequency is lowered, you are resonating on the same frequency of densities, okay? Densities, demons, low vibes, whatever you want to call it. And your life, you will see that reflected around you. If your relationships keep falling through, from romantic relationships to friendships to family, if your health is failing, if your if you don't have all of these things, it is a result of the choices that you make one way or another. That's accountability is so important. Where we are in life is a direct result of the choices that we have made leading up to this point. Even when things happen to us, because that is true, as a survivor, there are things that happen to us that we don't have any control over in the moment, but we do get to choose how we move forward from that. We get to choose how we heal and how we overcome, or how we don't heal and how we don't overcome. Many people play the victim for the rest of their life, where they are because of something that happened to them yesterday, a year ago, 20 years ago. And that is their choice. It is wild. So I've decided, rude. That's my new favorite word right now. And for those of you who have just tuned in, the original meaning of rude meant not polished, raw, primitive, rough around the edges, and natural. And being authentic in this world, not being a slave to the system, thinking critically, using your brain, trusting your gut, taking care of your mind, your body, and your spirit is going to make you different than the rest. All right. And your energy, your presence is going to shake things up. It will be jarring for some. It's going to make some people very uncomfortable and bitter, and it's going to make other people uncomfortable and inspired. Okay. But being authentic in a very fake world, being vital, walking around with vitality in a sick world is challenging, because people are going to come at you. They're going to hate you so much. And it has nothing to do with you. They are going to try, when those densities are able to get into their bodies and work through them, they're going to say mean things. They're going to come at the things that you love the most and try to tear them down. And that is why it is so important every single day to nourish your mind, your body, and your spirit. Take care of yourself. Choose who you keep around you wisely. If the people around you are not speaking life into you, they've got to go. Especially if you're a warrior, especially if you're on the front line every single day, shining your light in this all of this darkness. You need support. You need strength. You need people that see you, believe in you, and love you. All right, because you are going to go up against things like this often. I wish it wasn't true. It just is. So, yeah, that's it for now. I just wanted to get on while the momentum was strong, get some content going, Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Candace, I would love to talk to you soon. I don't know if you're still on here, but I love you, and I would love to talk to you soon. And thank you, everybody that tuned in. If you're on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button, please. And remember that I see you and I feel you, because I am you and I love you, all right? Oh, one more thing. Go to communitynourishment.org.